Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here. So today what I wanted to do is take on Entropy using the cards from this particular vault event. Now I had done a video earlier that actually showed how I used Yokozuna as well as Drosselmeyer along with 3 support cards to take the boss down, basically to take out about 490 billion health. So that I was able to show that with that particular setup, you could actually take out the Entropy boss in a couple of fights. And I did get the shiny Master Collection card from the 1000 gem vault pull, so I was pretty lucky there, so I was able to use it. But then I thought about it and realized that it might be better to try and show this without any of the other Master Collection cards. And so I decided to put in Apollo, which is a card that is available in the Dust shop. So if you have 2 of them, then you also have a couple of Fable relics, you might be able to give this a try. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 of them in, and we're going to also put in a light scepter, which is very important for this build because you need to be able to heal to survive the hits. Now we're going up against a level 15 Entropy, and my assumption here is that if you are having a hard time with Entropy, you might not have it at as high a level, so the amount of damage that is needed to take out the boss might be a little bit less. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give this team a try and see how much damage we can actually deal so that we can see if this is a viable option for you or not. So keep in mind that we're at 1.3 trillion health here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see how much damage we dealt at the very end here. And so the way that you want to play this deck, and if you have any other versions of this particular setup, it's going to be very similar. Basically, every 2 turns you want to activate Asuka. And what I've really enjoyed is actually getting multiple copies of her for this particular sort of style. And I think that having at least 2 or 3, 2 is a minimum and 3 is really where I think the sweet spot is in terms of a couple of things. One, you get you can get to the maximum tribute amount of 15 much faster, and that also means that every time you activate them, you get that much more heal from the start. And so what I want to show you here too is let's pay attention to when Entropy attacks. So we're at 400,000 health here, and with the addition of the light scepter, I'm actually able to heal fully every single time. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and bring the armor down to 0 with just a couple more hits here. And then we're also going to let the armor drop down. At this point, you don't want to activate Asuka anymore because you do not want to add the duration of the tribute again. So we're going to just let it expire. And once it expires, we're also going to activate Apollo. So in the first couple of times that we activate, Apollo isn't going to create a full board of power gems because we only have two relics going there. And so the thing here to keep in mind also is that with the reduced number of total relics that power up Asuka, we're also going to be dealing a little bit less damage. So each of those cards are going to be dealing slightly less than they would otherwise. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build the tribute up to 15 again. And so we're just going to go ahead and activate Asuka here. And so as we are also waiting, the time, the number of turns that's required in order to get the tribute to expire happens to also match the number of turns you need to wait for Apollo to actually activate, which is 7 turns. And so within this time frame, by the time that the tribute is available, you can see that Apollo is actually already available, and so the timing works out well. And again, we're still less than 350 Fable intensity. You can see here, which is the sort of the magic number for you to get to a full board power gem 1s. And with 2 of them, what that means is we're going to be able to get a full board power gem 2s, and then we're going to upgrade all of the 15 power gem 3s to power gem 4s, which is going to be really nice. And so we started at a little over 1.3 trillion. My hope here is that by the end we can bring it down to about 1.1. So if we can get about 200 billion damage, then that means at least for the first couple of levels of Entropy, you should be able to take it out without an issue there. And so let's go ahead and we need to wait for this to actually We need to wait for this to expire. And what I'm going to do also is, I guess I can't. I was hoping to build a couple more power gems just to boost the damage a little. But we're going to go ahead and activate in the same order again. And this time we're getting closer to a full board of power gems now. We're at 320 Fable Intensity. And let's see if the damage goes up. So we're at 10 point, so now we're about 35 billion every time we hit. Okay, and so this is looking pretty good, and so we're just going to continue on. We still have over 20 seconds, so the faster that you can actually do this, the more damage, the more hits you can bring in. And right now I don't really need to worry about health either, so that's a nice thing about this mechanic here, is that I basically never need to worry about bringing in another card that heals, which actually will reduce my overall damage. And so we're at maximum now, so remember we do not want to activate Asuka again, so we're just going to go ahead and let it expire. And so what I do during this time is, even though it's grayed out, I am looking for opportunities to match my gems so that I can do a quick, quickly so that I can not waste time. And then queuing up your battle skills is also another way to save some time as well. Now, every time we do this, unfortunately, we are losing about 2 seconds of game clock time. And so that's the only thing with this, is that there's nothing we can do to actually stop the clock from running down. And so we do have to try and optimize in the other times there, so that in between we do want to make sure that we're doing quick matches there. And so what I normally like to do is look for gems on the edges or on the bottom. Basically, you want to look for it around the clock. And then when Entropy actually destroys the board, it is going to make it a little bit harder to see. And so that is the thing to watch out for as well. So looking at the side, seeing if you can find a match there is going to be more helpful in getting your matches as quickly as possible. Or what I normally like to do is I end up looking on the right side. That's just kind of my personal preference, and then I look on the left side. So you gotta decide which way works best for you. All right, so I think with this setup we can probably do 2 more attacks. So let's see how much damage you can do with the remaining 2 attacks there. We can, assuming I can do this fast enough. So let's go ahead, and we're going to have we're going to get our gems destroyed. And I have not been good at making sure that I activate Asuka every 2 turns, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and do this, and activate her 1 more time, and then we wait for 4 turns. So we started at about 1.32 or 1.33, I would like to say, and we have managed to get a little over 100 billion at this point, I think. And so 1 more turn there, and then we'll be able to activate. So I'm going to go ahead and queue it up again. And so now, again, every time we attack, we are dealing about 35 billion damage. And so obviously, the more times that we can do this, the more damage you can deal. All right, so 2.52, that definitely is, I think that's enough time. So we just need to go ahead and do this. All right, so 1.2 seconds remaining, and what I might need to do is I might need to give up on this one. So with 0.86 seconds remaining, we do have enough time for just 1 more. So we're gonna get 12 Power Gem 3s instead, and so let's go ahead and I forgot to account for the fact that Apollo will not actually activate in the full time. So I needed 1 more turn to activate Apollo. So that was unfortunate there, but let's take a look and see. So we're at 1.174 with this. So about a little over 200 billion, which is really helpful for lower level entropy. So hopefully this helps you as well. And again, this is a card that Apollo is a card that's available in the dust shop. And so hopefully this helps you take down entropy, and wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time. Take care.